Hofstra Arboretum is part and parcel of the whole campus, and it's 250 acres. So that is the size square footage wise, but it also takes in all of the highways and streets and everything that you see. What qualifies us as an arboretum is the fact that we've been a member in good standing for about 25 years now with the American Public Garden Association. And this is a pretty prestigious group that was created many years ago. There are 625 taxa of trees. And now an arboretum is a collection of trees as opposed to a botanical garden, which is a collection of all plants. They could be anything from, tropicals and the annuals and the display beds that you have with herbaceous perennials and stuff. But Hofstra is an arboretum because we're trying to follow the original William Hofstra, who was a lumberman, and that's how he made his living. And he collected trees here at his summer home at Hofstra. And so we thought an arboretum would be more fitting than just than being a botanical garden. And so we have a collection of trees that number in the thousands. It's probably close to 12,000 trees, but there are 625 distinctly different ones out of those 12,000. That's hard to say. It's like asking which is your favorite child or something like that, Planting, I have probably a favorite tree, which is the Katsura in the Pinetum, close to Hager Hall, on the south side of Hager Hall. It's the oldest tree. It's from Japan. It's Cercidophyllum japonicum. It's about 120 to 125 years old. So it's pretty magnificent when you go up to it and you see it. It's 13 feet around, and it's got quite a stature to it. But as far as plantings go, I mean, there's a lot of little niche plantings on campus and things that little venues that we've kind of created around campus that are just for comfort and for, but also aesthetically pleasing. I think of things like the horse on West Circle Road and the planting of a native blue stem grasses that grow in the Hempstead Plains, which is what Hofstra was built on. And so this is one of the native grasses, and the horse kind of grazing in the grass. It's made out of horseshoes, 1,000 horseshoes that make up this piece of sculpture. And that's also a good part of the Arboretum as well, is the sculpture and, man and women's artwork as well as, Mother Nature's. The best time to plant is probably the fall for woody plants, trees and shrubs. Spring is also good maybe for a little bit more tender things that you want to get a jump on and have them make a good set of roots before they go into the winter. I mean, now we're looking at today where it could get, down into the 20s. You probably don't want to be planting when the ground starts getting hard. So fall is a good time, as I said, for the woody plants. And mostly for here on campus, when you're looking to fill a spot with a plant, whether it be for a new building and you need a lot of plants, or just a replacement plant for something that has died, or you want to replace or redo a specific landscape, anytime you can get that plant is really the right time to plant it. So plants these days come in pots, as opposed to the old days. They used to be in fields and you have to ball and burlap them, and it could only be done at a certain time of year. Nowadays we have everything from trees to and shrubs down to small perennials and grasses and all. They're all in plastic pots, and so if you can find them, you can plant them. As long as the ground isn't frozen, you're all right. The conifers on campus probably come to life in the wintertime, particularly when it's snowing out. And our Pinetum, which is a collection of 110 different kinds of conifers. And when I say conifers, it's the angiosperms. It's the pines and the spruces and the larches and the firs and, the Christmas trees and the evergreens. That is probably one of the biggest attractions. Another thing in the coming months is witch hazels, which bloom at an odd time of year. Most people would think you're walking by in February, and we have dozens of them on campus now. They come out in full bloom in February. You get a mild week or two in February, and they come into bloom. They have a good fragrance to them as well. So those are really nice. There's a couple of Edgeworthia plants that also very fragrant yellow flowers. They bloom late February, early March. The hellebores are called Christmas rose or Lenten rose because they bloom between Christmas and Easter. And so these things come out in the middle of the snow. They're in full bloom, so it's pretty cool. Well, one of the big features at Hofstra, because we are Dutch and we do a lot of tulips, that's, I think, something that we look forward to every spring. In April come out the daffodils, and we probably have a couple, 250, 300,000 daffodils that over the years we've planted. You know, we might plant 8, 10,000 a year, but the daffodils come back year to year. So these things in April, you can look, even in March sometimes, you can look forward to thousands of daffodils. But then the tulips come into bloom, and there's so many different colors, and there's so many different varieties, and they're in little pockets throughout the campus. That's certainly something to look forward to. Sampler garden, which is our collection of the tulips. There's about 150 different varieties that'll all be labeled. There'll be a brochure and a sign for them, and it's between south side of Dempster and the north side of the Dean Law Library. And they're planted out this time of year, and then in the spring they come up. So last week in April, first week in May, you can go there with the brochure and mark off the red one that you like, or the parrot tulip that you like, or the fringe tulip, or the lily flowering tulip. So it's an education in all the different kinds of tulips, from species and the early ones, right up until the late blooming May flowering tulips. So you could see what you like, and it's something you could consider planting yourself in your own home. And you would know the names of what you like, and then you'd be a little bit more educated on what to ask for and what to look for when you go shopping the following fall.